Hello YouTube, welcome to another review video, and I apologize if I sound sick. It's because I am sick. So let's go ahead and let's get into this because man, this was a bit of a struggle. Reviewing Homefront Revolution, available for both PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Of course, with my videos I play on the Xbox One because that's the console I own. Damn it! Now, not to be confused with the first Homefront, this is not a direct continuation. It's more of a reboot. Wow. Alrighty. Starting the video off strong. But it's more of a reboot because, of course, the previous owners of this was THQ, and if you remember THQ, well, time to pour one out for one's homie. This is now, it was owned by Crytek, I believe that it was passed on to Deep Silver, picked it up, and Deep Silver is the publisher of this game, whereas the developer is Dam Buster Studios, which it is their first game, and unfortunately it plays like their first game. But we'll get more into that once we're done talking about the single player. So let's go ahead and talk about the single player in the game. The single player takes place in an occupied United States, not North America. I don't think they took over Canada. Why would they take over Canada? Who does that? What do Canadians do to anyone? But anyway, back on point. North Korea has apparently invaded the US due to the fact that in this alternate what-if timeline scenario, apparently North Korea has a silicon river where they discovered a bunch of silicon. They were able to develop a bunch of tech, and apparently people like Steve Jobs, Germany, Japan, they never did shit with their lives and haven't done anything in this alternate timeline. And despite taking place after the North Korean War, we are buying a bunch of tech and other stuff from North Korea because that makes sense. It makes so much sense. But due to the fact that we have been buying their tech for a long time, and we are still somehow embezzled in a bunch of wars in the Middle East in this timeline, we get ourselves into massive debt, and the government defaults on the debt. North Korea decides to collect on that debt and decides to come over and help out the US with its massive economic failures, and then just turns into a widespread occupation where they are mining us for all our resources. You know, if North Korea is a powerhouse like it is, it shouldn't have an issue with resources in all actuality, but, you know, fuck it. So in the story you play Ethan Brady, who is a mute, apparently. We're back to silent protagonist, 2016, and that definitely does not work in his favor at all in this game. There are several moments where you saying something could have meant a lot of difference, and a lot of things such as, hey, crazy lady, don't cut off my nipples. I'm part of the resistance. I'm part of the fucking resistance. I have a concussion, by the way, due to your friends. But you are in the shoes of Brady as he takes part in the resistance movement in Philadelphia. So you'll be going from red zones to yellow zones in this game. Red zones are more war-torn areas. They're more open to conflict because it's shoot on sight for the KPA. And that's pretty much it for that. It's open combat. And the yellow zones, this is where they like mix it up a little bit, and you get to kind of blend in, but not really blend in because they'll always recognize you if you're close enough, or if things scan you, they'll recognize your face. But you'll run around. Sometimes you're able to holster your weapon, so you can run around, kind of looking around and observing enemies, planting more ambushes because these are like where troops are on patrols and they don't necessarily shoot you on sight anymore. But I'll do it for a short summary of like the synopsis. We'll go ahead and we'll get into just good and bad of the campaign. What the campaign does good, and this will involve the core mechanics as well, is they have several good concepts, and that's of course the red and yellow zones. Those are good concepts. They're all like tiny open world areas, so you get to run around and dick around with shit all in there, and that was kind of cool. Let's see. The conversions, they have this whole style thing where pretty much you have every weapon you have 3 weapons. You have the base weapon, and you have 2 conversions for it, and that mixes up styles a bit, and it allows you to kind of, if you are scouting the area out, it allows you to adjust for an attack or so ahead of time. It's not something wise to do in the middle of combat because conversion does take a little while. So swapping to, say, taking your assault rifle, making it a mine launcher, shooting the truck, and then trying to convert it back into your assault rifle by the time the 4 other people are shooting at you is not a wise decision. It's best to swap over to your sidearm or swap to the other secondary weapon. Other than that, they got other interesting guerrilla-like concepts. You got several different types of grenades or improvised explosives to be using, both proximity, remote detonation, and let's see, what was the other one? RC car. You get to put stuff on an RC car and use that. But now we're gonna go ahead and get into bad. And there's a lot of bad because remember, as I mentioned before, this is their first game. Their first official game as a studio. Oh, but graphics. The graphics do look actually pretty decent as well. That's another good thing. Now we're going to get back into tearing the game apart. Yeah, as I mentioned before with the scenario, before I mentioned improvised explosives, you have to open up the weapon wheel and to swap to, say, a better effective weapon, because a pistol versus 4 guys that are pissed off you blew up their fucking truck is not a good scenario. And to do that, you got to open up the weapon wheel to fucking select your other weapon. And that's time consuming and gets you hit a few unnecessary amount of times. The gameplay controls and everything just feels wrong. It feels clunky as hell. I'm pretty sure at this point you've probably seen a few things as well. When it auto-saves, it feels like the game's about to freeze. Shit, what else? Trying to grab ledges is a bit of a bitch. You know, I don't think I have any of that in my gameplay. Like, go figure, I started recording and I had no trouble grabbing ledges anymore. If you're a person that gets irritated by fetch quests or repetitive missions, you'll get ticked off real quick, because that's pretty much what you do. You go to a new zone, liberate a bunch of areas, get hearts and minds up, attack an area that'll pertain to the main objective, and move on to the next area and pretty much do the same thing over and over. Story relevant, I did not give a single fuck about any of these main character people that I was supposed to be like with or anything, and I found them all to be either annoying, stupid, like absolutely fucking stupid. Some really stupid decisions happen, like some that cross into spoiler territory, and I'm not going to mention those ones at all, but man, some people do some stupid shit. Like right off the bat in the game, remember how I joked about someone trying to cut off my nipples? Yeah, that's one of the main characters. And not to mention the fact that, you know, a doctor comes in and says, hey, you have a concussion, I'm going to give you some pills. And then the leader of this resistance group's like, no, he doesn't need to be doped up. He needs to be focused. Like, no. I have a fucking concussion. You want to send me out in the battlefield? Are you fucking stupid? Oh, God, I won't talk about them anymore. Because, God, I wish I was able to kill every single one of them and assume control of the resistance and lead it in a proper way. I mentioned bugs and stuff. At least I think I did. If I didn't, bugs and stuff, of course, I died one point. It spawned me in a fucking shelf in one of the safe areas. It spawned me in a fucking shelf. So now, we're going to go ahead and get into the other part of this game, and that is the co-op of this game. And the co-op is up to 4 players. I believe they're supposed to have DLC come out for. I believe it's supposed to be free. Do not quote me on that. I should have double-checked before using the words I'm using right now. They have packs and that, but they are no microtransactions, so kudos for that. They at least avoided microtransactions. In the co-op, you have character customization. You have the same weapons and everything you have access to in the campaign. You have skills, because you have a skill cap, and you select like a background for a character that'll give you a unique skill. And then you build up these skills to hit the max level, which is like, it's pretty low, but it's supposed to like kind of just cap off there, and you can create multiple characters that are like suited for different roles. And you sit there and you think, why the fuck is your campaign not like this? The co-op, I had a hell of fun with co-op, and I was the only one of my friends to get this, because I was the one that bit the bullet and decided to get it and let everyone know about it. Like, hey, is it good? Like, we'll get to the score at the end of the game, at the review. But the co-op was actually hella fun. Like, remember how I mentioned you had to open up the weapon wheel to swap weapons? Not with this. When you get you first off have to get the skill for it. But when you get the skill for it, you just keep tapping Y and it'll cycle through all your weapons. It's just like, why was that not in the campaign for your control system? If you adapted the campaign around the entire co-op segment, the campaign would have been hella fun if the campaign was co-op. If the campaign allowed me to create a character and have these skills to level, to choose to pick from as I leveled up through the campaign, and then I would want to play through the campaign again with a different styled character. Maybe one centered more around being stealthy. Maybe one centered around, assaulting, which is generally what I did anyway. Your weapons also have more customization available to them. In particular, you could put suppressors on the rifles now. You couldn't put suppressors on the rifles in the campaign. And there was a level where my allies had suppressors on their fucking rifles. Like the fuck? But that's enough. Let's go ahead and get into scoring, particularly because I'm sorry for the co-op gameplay that's in the background there. I know I'm playing it by myself, because apparently no one plays at 10 in the morning. But also, I kill myself, so I want to kind of finish this up possibly before I get to footage of me blowing myself up. And as of course, with the scoring, I score on a 10 scale, 1 through 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, 5 is like the middle ground, it's okay, it's average. And for Homefront Revolution, being Dan Buster's first game, I'm going to go ahead and give a 4.5 out of 10. And of course, I didn't mention what a 0.5 means. If I have a 0.5 on it, it means it wasn't good enough to reach its next level, because I had several things holding it down. In this case, this game is pretty average, except for the fact that all these bugs and everything else are definitely what brings it down. The clunkiness and everything else. Stuff that it could polish up on in the future, and I'd recommend picking it up only in the future at a reduced price, because with all the clunkiness and everything else, the campaign is going to be like pretty boring, I think, to most. In my opinion. I dread to do it. The co-op is actually really where the game shines. But unfortunately, for a $60 price, I can't justify buying a game for just one mode. So that'll do it. Let me know what you thought of the review. Of course, Twitter's down below if you want to follow for updates on the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun YouTube stuff. And as always, you're welcome to come back over to Gaming House for more gameplay and commentary.